are Marietta College. We are pioneers. Find out how you can become a PIO at www.marietta.edu.
Coming up today on News Center 15, there's a new Ohio law protecting athletes' expression of religion.
And attempts to stop restrictive Ohio abortion law from going into effect.
We'll have these stories and more. News Center 15 starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to Tuesday's edition of News Center 15. I'm Cole Longcourt.
And I'm Sydney Wilson.
Topping off our news this afternoon, voting rights and democratic groups in Ohio have filed objections to a third set of Ohio State House maps. The lines for legislative districts were approved Thursday by Republicans of the Ohio Redistricting Commission. The panel acted a week later after its members were ordered to appear in person at what would have been an extraordinary contempt of court face-off with justices of the Ohio Supreme Court. The court continued the hearing Friday and prepared to hear another round of arguments beginning Monday on why the maps failed to meet constitutional muster and invalid the first two sets of maps as gerrymandering.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has signed a bill into law protecting athletes' religious expression. The bill was inspired by an Ohio teen disqualified from a cross-country race for wearing a hijab without the required waiver. The measure, signed Monday by DeWine, prohibits school sports regulators from requiring advanced waivers or otherwise restricting participants' religious apparel unless it causes a legitimate danger. The bill's sponsor, Senate Teresa Garveron, researched the legislation based on the experience of a suburban Toledo runner disqualified over her hijab in 2019. The Ohio High School Athletic Association has since changed its rules to let referees approve such head coverings without a formal waiver.
What's the weather look like out there today?
Here to provide us a first look at the weather is Landon Santini.
What can we expect out there, Landon?
Thanks, guys. Well, now that we're in the beginning of the month of March, we can expect a lot warmer temperatures going forward. Right now, outside it feels like 50 with partly cloudy conditions expected with an expected high of 62. The UV index indicates that the air quality is rather good at a moderate level of 3, and the pollen count is pretty low, so that means that there's not going to be very much sneezing, and allergies to worry about. The winds are running around the southwest at 10 miles per hour, and that's part of what's making it relatively cool today. That the warmer temperatures that we're experiencing is making the humidity roughly 54%, and we're having an expected good amount of daylight today. The sun rose earlier this morning around 6:57 and is going to set roughly 18 minutes after 6 o'clock in the evening. And I'm also excited because the low pollen count not only means that it's going to be easy for everybody to breathe due to a lack of pollen in the air, but as of today, the Marietta College campus has enacted its relaxation of the coronavirus mask mandate policy. So now we can wear this if we want to or if we don't. It's no longer 100% requirement. It's now entirely dependent on what makes you comfortable, and I'm certainly happy about being able to breathe in the studio again, and I can tell you that all of us here at WCMO are happy about that as well. We're also happy that it's starting to get a little bit warmer, and we'll talk more about how that's going to affect our region of the Mid-Ohio Valley later on this week when I return later on for the 5-day forecast. But until then, it's great to be back. And back to you guys at the desk.
A new lawsuit seeks to block enforcement of an Ohio abortion restriction that included additional licensing requirements that ACLU and Planned Parenthood argue that are onerous. The action filed Friday asked the Hamilton County Commission Pleas Court to prevent the Ohio Department of Health from enforcing the law, which goes into effect on March 23rd. The bill's stated goal was to impose criminal penalties on doctors who fail to give medical care when a baby is born alive following an abortion attempt. However, provisions were added that abortion right groups argue could lead to 2 clinics in Southwest Ohio being closed.
A judge in Ohio has dismissed charges against 2 people who their attorneys say were falsely accused of sexually abusing children from a Head Start program in the early 1990s. Lorain County Common Pleas Judge Chris Cook dismissed charges Friday against 64-year-old Nancy Smith and 68-year-old Joseph Allen. The Lorain County prosecutor agreed the charges should be dismissed after a review of his office found no credible evidence they were guilty. The case against Smith and Allen began in 1993 when a parent told Lorain police Smith had driven children on a Head Start bus to a home where she and a man had sexually abused them.
Coming up, we have a high number of expired vaccinations in Guatemala.
We'll be back after this.
Hey, this is Kevin Love from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right now, many of us feel anxious. Mindfulness can help you ease those feelings. My nonprofit is partnering with Headspace to offer free content to help you stress less. Head to kevinlovefund.org/headspace.
Here's to the straggly ones, the first ones. But hey, I look good with this ones. The black, brown, red, and gray ones. The itchy ones. The ones grown by Dad. The ones grown for Dad. The I nearly didn't do it this year ones, and the absolutely filthy ones. They all raise awareness, raise funds, start conversations, and save lives. Because whatever you grow will save a bro. Learn more at Movember.com.
Health authorities in Guatemala say over 1 million doses of the Russian Sputnik coronavirus vaccine have expired because nobody wants to take the shot. The country's health minister, Francisco Come, said on Monday that there was a rejection among the population towards the vaccination. Only 43% of the country's 12.6 million inhabitants over the age of 11 are fully vaccinated.
A man shot and killed his 3 daughters, their chaperone, and himself during a supervised visit with the girls on Monday at a church in Sacramento, California. Duties responding to the reports of gunfire in the evening found 5 people dead. The age of the victims included 3 girls, the ages of 9, 10, and 13. An employee of the church heard gunshots and dialed 911.
All day long, trains and buses bringing people fleeing Ukraine to the safety of the Polish border, carrying not only Ukrainians fleeing from their homeland under attack, but a large number of citizens of other countries who have since made the nation their home. A 23-year-old Egyptian, Ahmed Ibrahim, arrived carrying his cat in a carrier late on Friday, fleeing stunned and sick after 3 days of travel. He said he had been studying medicine in Ukraine for 5 years and only had a year left, leaving him unsure of what his future may hold and his next steps.
Hungary's right-wing nationalist Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, has nurtured close political and economic ties with Russia for more than a decade, giving him the reputation as the Kremlin's closest European Union ally. But when Russia's large-scale invasion commenced last week, Orban laid responsibility for the tensions and violence on Moscow to what could be a turning point in his more than a decade-long pro-Russia approach. As the Russia-Ukraine conflicts escalate, Orban faces greater pressure than ever to choose between the partners in the EU and NATO military alliance.
Coming up next, Russia's using social media in its attempts to take over Ukraine.
We'll also get the latest news from Hollywood.
And now that March has begun, we're getting closer and closer to springtime. But how much warmer is the weather going to get over the weekend? Stay tuned later on for the 5-day forecast.
Where are we?
We are at Marietta College.
This is where we live at Marietta College.
When kids need medical care, they face life-changing experiences. They miss out on the things that make being a kid fun. Starlight Children's Foundation programs entertain and inspire hospitalized kids. Learn more at starlight.org.
Marietta, a place some people call home.
A place of athletes.
A place of discovery.
A place for the future.
Your plan.
Your future.
Go Pios.
For some, trying to find romance online is often a case of looking for love in all the wrong places. Authorities are now warning people to be careful when people start putting the electronic moves on them. It is often starting with someone reaching out through a social network or online game, usually with a simple hi or hey. But before long, there's a series of personal questions and many times a request along with romance for cash. In one case, a Virginia man got taken for more than $500,000. The Federal Trade Commission says romance scams reached a record high last year, increasing by nearly 80% since 2020. The FTC claims victims have lost more than $1.3 billion to online romance scams.
Russia isn't just using soldiers, tanks, and missiles to go after Ukraine. It is also using the social media site TikTok. Online experts say just as Russia flooded the internet with fake accounts when it took over Crimea in 2014, it's doing the same now as it looks to conquer Ukraine. Armies of trolls and bots have been cranking out anti-Ukrainian sentiment, and state-controlled media outlets have been trying to post things aimed at dividing Western audiences.
Hold the onions. That's what authorities decided to do when they got a whiff of what mingled with a shipment of onions in a tractor-trailer coming over the California border. Officials say they seized nearly $3 million worth of methamphetamine hidden among a shipment of onions. The 1,200 small packets of meth were sniffed out by a canine crew for the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The truck driver, a 46-year-old Mexican national who wasn't named, is under arrest for the alleged attempted drug smuggling. Today in entertainment news, we have a look at two new movies, Big Gold Brick and Cyrano. Here, Haley Lantham with that and more in the Hollywood Minute.
What's going on in Hollywood, Haley?
Thanks, guys. The new Cyrano stars Peter Dinklage in the title role, a character that director Joe Wright calls him uniquely suited to play. The first trailer for the Oscar-tipped Cyrano, which features Game of Thrones star Peter Dinklage, was released last Wednesday. The film tells the story of a poet who struggles to reveal his true feelings to the woman he loves due to his perceived unattractive appearance. Cyrano is now in theaters. The indie film Big Gold Brick features a suicidal writer, a bizarre family, a talking Santa Claus doll, and a cast including Andy Garcia, Megan Fox, Lucy Hale, and Oscar Isaac, who's also one of the producers and sent Garcia the unusual script. Big Gold Brick recounts the story of fledgling writer Samuel Liston and his experiences with the author to write his biography. But the circumstances that lead up to his arrangement in the first place are quite astonishing. Efforts to write his biography are quickly stymied by ensuing chaos and darkly comedic genre-bending film. With your Hollywood Minute, I'm Haley Lanham. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for the look at Hollywood, Haley.
Now it's time to hear the extended forecast from Landon Santini. What do you have for us?
Friends, anchors, and countrymen, lend me your ear and we will talk about the national weather forecast for our lovely program today. As you can see here, we're having in the state of Ohio a little bit of a rainfall that's coming towards our neck of the woods from the in the direction of southwest. It's not quite hit the Mid-Ohio Valley yet, but as you can see, it's coming through roughly around the middle of the state, stemming from Lake Erie. And it's currently hitting Columbus right now, and it should hit us later on towards this weekend. But so now we'll take a look at the 5-day forecast, and as you can see, we're going to be getting a little bit more of the temperatures we're experiencing today with partly cloudy conditions, expected high of 61, so relatively warm. Then as we get towards the end of the week, we're going to get a bit of a cool down with an expected high of 54, low of 29, and some cloudy conditions, and getting a little bit lower with partly cloudy conditions, expected high of 52 and a low of 25. Then when we get into the heart of the weekend, we get a more cloudy conditions with a drastic temperature spike of up to a high of 70, continuing on into Sunday with an expected high of 71, and along with the temperature increase, along with that we're going to come a moderate chance of rain. If the warm temperatures we've been starting to get as of last week is any indication, rain is almost always not too far behind, but that's to be expected because, you know, rain always brings forth the renewal of life, such as the birth of trees and flowers and all that good stuff. So as spring gets closer and closer, we'll be looking forward to seeing more and more of that in the coming weeks. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when I come back towards the end of the program. Until then, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Landon. When we come back, Alexis Pinnell will have the latest in Marietta College sports.
Stay with us.
James Brown and Bill Cowher welcoming you back to the Midnight Snack Run.
This is one tricky obstacle course.
He's reaching, but he pushes it away. He's approaching a plate of iced cookies. He blows right by him.
Oh, the fridge.
Looks like he's headed for the soda. Wait, he jukes left, grabs the water bottle.
Now he's just got to get out of there.
Look what dropped from the sky.
Don't do it, Dennis. That's the way you execute a Midnight Snack Run.
Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer.
Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Marietta College, home of the pioneers. A small town on the Ohio River with a tight-knit community and tons of opportunity. Find a home here at Marietta College. Bring forth a pioneer.
What are we gonna do? Ta-da! All right. Come on, every pony. Woo! Liza, I just love how ponies are better together.
Me too. You know, same thing with Girl Scouts, Kamiko. Every day they make each other shine a little brighter.
And they make the world around them a better place. So join Girl Scouts.
And be a part of the friendship and magic.
And now we're back with Alexis for a look at sports. And from what I hear, we have some big news going on campus this week.
You're right, and I have the rundown. This past Saturday, the Marietta College men's basketball team defeated the Purple Raiders of Mount Union 63-61 to win back-to-back Ohio Athletic Conference championships. The Pios are on a 23-game winning streak and have direct bids to the NCAA tournament with 25 wins and 2 losses. The Pioneers are set to host to Marietta College on Friday, March 4th at 7:15 in the first round of the tournament. The Marietta College baseball team kicked off their season at the D3 Showcase in Kannapolis, North Carolina. The Pios went 2-1 on their weekend of play. The Edda Express started the weekend with a loss to Christopher Newport 7-2. They came back the next day and got back in the win column with wins over Keystone College 7-0 and Washington and Lee 17-0. The team returns to action at the Snowbird Classic in Port Charlotte, Florida on March 6 at 11 a.m. The Marietta College women's basketball team are in an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament on Monday afternoon. This is their second to the tournament for the team, who will travel to Hope College in Holland, Michigan to take on the Wittenberg Tigers. The Pioneers lost in the quarterfinals round in the conference of the Ohio Athletic Tournament. With that being said, they are really excited to get back on the court this weekend and hopes to make a run in the NCAA tournament. Marietta College is set to take on Denison University in their season opener today with games at 2 and 4. This is a doubleheader at the Marietta Field and admission is free. The team is excited to get their season going and hope to start off in the win column. After today, the team will travel to Clearmont, Florida to participate in the Spring Games tournament over spring break in an action-packed week of 10 games. That's all for now in the world of sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for that rundown, Alexis. Joining us now at the desk is Landon Santini for our last look at the weather this week.
Okay, well, to basically sum it up, now that we're in the month of March and spring is getting closer and closer to being an actual season that we're all going to be experiencing. We're experiencing warmer temperatures, and we're going to be experiencing more of what we're feeling today, tomorrow, before a brief cool down as we get closer to the end of the week, before we get a drastic spike of the upper 70s as we get to Saturday and Sunday, along with some rain coming up towards the very tail end of the weekend when it's time for everyone to do their usual Sunday activities. So I'm certainly looking forward to temperatures being more consistently warm. I think we can put away the bulk of our heavy winter coats and stuff like that, but I do think that for now we should stall from putting away some of our warmer clothes because we're still going to be going back and forth to the 50s for a little while longer, I think. What are you guys looking forward to in the coming weeks as we get closer and closer to spring break? In fact, is next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, it should be good here. You know, we're starting off spring break with temperatures in the 70s, so I can't complain too much. Hopefully we can get through some of the cooler temperatures this week in midterms. So we hope you will join us again on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon 30 and 6:30 for WCMO NewsCenter 15 Marietta College Broadcasting. From all of us here at the desk, thank you. It's good to be back, and we hope to see you next time.